Each day we strive to make it Black home, Black to the future, Black in one piece. I'm Dr. Tasha, host of Black in One Piece.
It's my favorite.
It's just a conversation. We're thinking out loud. I'm your host, Samuel David.
What affirmed me is what continues to affirm me, and that is I'm not forgotten in any capacity.
Peace, big love, big blessings, even bigger living, everything that comes with it and everything in between. You see, we got a group. You are tuned in to Thinking Out Loud crossover episode with my girl, LaShona Kelly. But before we get there, I'm Samuel David, the host of Thinking Out Loud, and I'm gonna pass the mic.
Thank you. I'm Dr. Tasha, host of Black in One Piece, and today we have with us Camille Scott, Kandace Burnett, and LaShona Jones. Woo, the crowd goes wild.
All of that.
Today we've gathered together because we have a common thread beyond just being Black. We all graduated from Spark Community Business Academy. Not being from here, that really propelled me in my business. Create Campaign was thinking about how can they be more strategic in getting alum together to talk about their progress and share their story. So that's what we're here to do today. And I also want to note that I haven't gotten Sam yet, but Camille, Candy, and LaShona have been interviewed for Black in One Piece. That's the other reason why we've gathered them here today, so we can reflect 1 year later.
So what we talking about today? Because y'all know I like to think out loud. I like to go all over the place, but I want to keep it on par with Dr. Kelly. Well, how should I?
Tasha is fine.
Tasha's cool, because doctor, when you got doctor on your name, you got to put respect on it first and foremost.
No, I appreciate y'all. But
Okay.
that came from, I have never been in a place with so many Tashas. Tijuana started calling me Dr. Tasha to distinguish from Tasha Hayes, but
Okay.
Tasha is fine.
Tasha's cool. Say less. Tasha.
No, you gotta tell the doctor part though.
No, because I was the one that started it. And when she told me in Spark, and she was like, yeah, I'm a doctor. I said, all right, doctor. I said, people don't have that title in front of their name.
That's it, man.
Right.
I appreciate y'all.
There's a certain amount of respect that you got to put on it because of a high level of work you put into that.
Now that is the truth.
Right. Now y'all know Thinking Out Loud, I could digress all day. But back to the lecture at hand. So back on tune with what Dr. Kelly was saying. Everybody here is an alumni of Spark, right? Which is a super dope program. I love Spark. It helped me spark an idea that I've been having for a long time, no pun intended. And I'm about to put it in action to the maximum effort. But I watch you ladies, and y'all have been putting your work in. Let us know from this side of the room which Spark cohort you're a part of, as well as what your Spark business plan was.
I was in cohort 2.
The dub.
Yeah, so we was in the beginning of time, you know? My bills, I had already had it kind of going, and I have a juicing business, organic cold press, and I just kind of felt stuck and wanted to go to the next level. And I don't know who it was that mentioned it to me, but I signed up, I got in, and let me tell you, the stress level of wanting to be great, but still in that mode of, I don't know. I've learned this journey of entrepreneurism that you will always doubt when you get to the next level, because when it's a calling on your life and it's something that you have to do, you have to lean on God. When I started Spark, it was very high stress, but I persevered and I pushed through because I knew that it was gonna make me something greater in the end. So the tools that they taught us, I feel really helped us with every aspect of being an entrepreneur. And then I have tons of friends that I can reach out to if I need anything. That to me is the biggest thing, is having that support system.
No, that's important for entrepreneurs, so you're not on an island.
Yeah.
Right? You see a lot of different people going through it in different parts of their journey.
Yes.
Tell us about your journey.
My business idea in Spark actually was created during COVID. I had this idea that I could not rest with. So Tawana and I had actually been friends for about 20-something years. I'm talking about since elementary days. I called her one day and I was like, hey, what do you think of this? She encouraged me to reach out to Christina. I reached out to Christina Long and said, hey, I have this business idea. I don't know where to start. I don't know nothing about a business. I just have these ideas. So she said, LaShona, at least start jotting it down on paper. I'll take it from there with a business plan. Well, fast forward, that's when the application of Spark was open and I applied and I got in. And like I said, the journey was amazing. I didn't know nothing about entrepreneurship. I actually come from a family of 9-to-5ers. There isn't a lot of entrepreneurs. Mine was literally $1 and a dream and a business plan. Shout out to J. Cole, in case y'all didn't catch that. But like Candy said, it's been amazing. I've revamped mine a little bit, so it's not off the ground yet fully, but the dream is not dead. It's something that still needs to happen here in Wichita. It's actually very, very few in the Midwest. So
You're speaking coded a little bit, LaShona. You want to?
I'm speaking coded. I don't want to say too much because I'm in the revamp process. I'm just taking things a different direction. But I have the tools to do that now with entrepreneurship compared to what my original idea was during Spark. So hey, wait on it. Just trust me and wait on it, Sam.
Say less. Camille. Hold on, before Camille says hers, I think it's so dope. I had an opportunity to be a judge for a pitch competition.
Yes.
And Camille was in that joint going crazy.
Yes.
All right, that's what I'm
Yes.
gonna put on it. Now it's your turn.
Yes. And can I just say, Camille, didn't you win? Okay, she was the winner.
Go crazy.
Yes.
Go crazy. And now, Camille, don't you do like facilitation with Spark? Come on, go crazy.
Slow down. I'm grateful for everything. So I think the community's quote is, when Christina Long asks you to do something, you say yes. So I was sitting at the annual forum that she hosts every summer, and Alejo was up in front of us, and he was talking about Spark, and I was already 3 years into my business. So I'm like, I don't need this. I already know how to set up my business. My business is already set up. But I feel like I gotta go because he's asking us to do it. So we gotta show up the same way that they show up for us. So I signed up for it and it knocked some sense into my head. My business is the Clarice Desk LLC. I do automation, system automation, and virtual assistance for small Black-owned businesses, women-owned businesses to help them get their back offices straight. Without me having to sit across the table from them in person, I'm behind the Zoom camera, helping them out and helping their businesses stay afloat. Spark was literally the spark that I needed to knock some sense into me that everything should not be free. Everything should not be something that I'm volunteering for the greater good. It is literally a hobby, is what Alejo tells us all the time. If you ain't making money, it's a hobby. Spark was the sense that I needed because within 3 years, I wasn't making any growth with how much money I was making. And I was like, this ain't cute. I'm not doing the Clarice Desk for a hobby. I'm literally taking this on to help other people. Spark was what I needed in order to say, you know what, start charging what you're worth. Step outside your comfort zone, because I'm a transplant to Wichita, and it's so easy to feel isolated and alone, even in the midst of being a part of a Black community. Just to be transparent, people are loyal to who they know and who they've grown up with, and so it's difficult sometimes without stepping out on faith. And so Spark really helped me connect with people and meet dope people like Tasha and LaShona and Candy and Sam, and it keeps growing because now it's full circle and I'm a facilitator and I'm meeting more entrepreneurs and pouring back into them. So Spark is just home. It's the foundation now. That's what it feels like to me.
Can I add that Camille and I was in the same group. So we sat at the same table every night of class and talk about that bossy in a professional way that held you accountable though. Because like Candy said, it's a lot of work. You have to be fully committed. And Camille did not play. But the accountability that she said, okay, y'all messed up this assignment. Ooh, that money don't look right. But that's what Spark also does. Because like Candy said, I got a lifelong friend, that accountability partner, but talk about that mother hen that would boss you, but make sure you on your stuff. That was Camille.
Yeah.
I love that. Virgo energy.
I love that because it speaks to something that you mentioned when we talked last year. You talked about there being a Black ecosystem and thinking about what that looks like as it pertains to entrepreneurism. And I remember on one of our last sessions, I talked about how I had never been this far away from home before. I've always been no more than 3-4 hours. Well, I could drive. And so coming here, I was just sitting there one day. I'm working remote still. And I was like, dang, like I ain't got no friends. Like, not here. And so Spark was a game changer for me on that. You can't call everybody your friend, but I genuinely felt leaving out of that cohort that I could call on any one of y'all if I needed something and y'all would be there. And y'all showed up for me when I was just randomly asking y'all to do an interview with me, so just in different ways. I appreciate every one of you, and I'm glad that I'm getting to know Sam now.
For sure,
yeah.
for sure. No, I think there's so much power in Spark. We can talk about Spark all day. Great campaign.
I know, for real. That is a program all entrepreneurs need.
100%, right? Because you're in a group, you become friends, you become peers, you're able to see your network, but you're also able to see, this ain't easy for nobody. Like you said, you 3 years in and still was able to learn something and take something away, right? while at the same time dropping gems where it made sense. A lot of times as entrepreneurs, people feel like, I'm gonna be an entrepreneur, I'm gonna get all my time back. You don't got no time, right? It's a commitment, and then you wanna do everything by yourself until you learn, I gotta pay myself. I need this person to help me with this. I need to leverage my strengths, and that's so important. So keeping it spark, what do you feel like, what is a strength you feel like was strengthened that you already knew you was good at, but then it was like, oh, I'm even better now after Spark?
I'm not gonna say it's cheesy, but my confidence in general, I am extremely shy and I'm a hermit crab. I hate talking in front of people. Real talk. I stutter. All of the things that would make somebody afraid to do public speaking, I had that since I was a kid. Like I would clench onto my mama to save me for absolutely everything. And so doing the elevator pitch, crying in my car before walking in the door, literally, because I'm like, I got to get in front of these people that I've been with for 12 weeks, things like that. And then winning. That wasn't something that the instructors voted on. My peers, why am I getting emotional? My peers voted for me to win that. And then sitting in our graduation and sitting there like, okay, you top 2 for the executive summary. I'm like, who? And then hearing that I won, it was just the validation that I needed, that I'm dope on purpose. Sometimes I don't like to pop my stuff because I don't care. You can keep me in the back as long as somebody else is succeeding. I don't care what glory I get. But doing Spark and pouring back into myself, knowing you are organized, you know how to structure things, you know how to put some fluff on some things so people understand what your business was. That's what I felt was strengthened, was that I know how to articulate my business in a confident way that I just did not feel like I could do before Spark.
Yeah. So LaShona, share with us, what's something that you felt was strengthened during your time with Spark?
The self-knowledge that I gained within myself outside of self-doubt. Like I said, I come from a family of 9-to-5ers. I actually didn't even know all the details of a simple LLC. Anybody that knows me, that's known me for quite some time, knows that I had the gift of gab. That's one of my strong suits in my personality. I think in another lifetime, I probably should have been a car salesman. Seriously. Just to wake up every day and say, okay, LaShona, you got this. You're educated in this now. You know this. You know that doesn't look right. You know how to fix that, because like we said, with entrepreneurship, it is a solo thing. But you want to try to do as much by yourself as possible. So I think for me, just strengthening my knowledge of the simple things that I was not educated about, with turning that piece of paper during the pandemic into a business plan and a model.
The games. Yeah. I love it. I love it. Candy B, talk to us. What's the strength that was strengthened for you during Spark?
I would probably have to say going out to a different target market. That to me was something that I stood firm on, and sticking to my people. Daddy Alejo.
Yes.
He came to me, he said, I like it that you want to do that. He said, but you got to go outside of your people, get the funds, and then come back and help the people. And I sat on that. I sat on that for about a good year. And then this past summer, I set some goals for myself to get me in a different market. I'm in the Derby market, the only little black girl out there. I got free watermelons from people to help me juice. I said, I see what Alejo is talking about. That ended up opening up a couple more doors for me, being a vendor at another pop-up. It was just like, you know what, I can do this. It's not as overwhelming as I think it would be.
I want to talk about black business, but I got to say something real quick. Them damn elevator speeches. What makes everybody so nervous about an elevator? Because you really just going up.
Sick.
Like,
My stomach was bubbling.
I think I snuck to the bathroom about 2 times and y'all didn't even know, for real. Like.
But you're really just going to talk about your, like if I was to ask you about your business right now, your gift of gab will go crazy, but it's something about the expectation of going to talk to people. Is it the public speaking portion?
It feels braggy. To me, it felt braggy. Like, and this might even sound even more braggy, but it was like, I don't need to talk about my business. You can see the work for yourself.
Okay.
Like, you can go to my website. Here, what is your business? www.claricedash.com. You can go read up all on it. Why is it the Clarice? Oh, you know what I'm saying? So standing in front of people, it's just, and then even the concept of an elevator pitch, I mean, I understand it, and I'm grateful for it.
For me, it was just talking in front of people. This right here, I can do this. But when you're talking about 20, 30 people, I'm like, oh God.
Right.
Was it the same for you, Dr. Kelly?
Oh, I was sick. I was sick. I don't like the braggy piece either, but that wasn't it for me. I just have always had extreme anxiety, socially awkward. And at that point, I had been here maybe not quite a year, actually. And so in a room full of people I don't know, and even though I learned that everybody didn't know each other in that room, it still felt like y'all have whether it's a Midwest, Wichita, like whatever connection. So that just made me nervous. But I will say everybody was so genuine. I know she wouldn't mind me sharing. One of our cohort members was Shantae Smith. She owns the art project. And I remember running to her in the bathroom the first day, and I was like, okay, I thought I had anxiety, but she was like shaking, literally. So that put stuff into context for me so that I could support her. And just seeing her growth across the 12 weeks, oh my goodness. That just made, I'm proud of her, I'm proud of all of us, but there was just a level of, everybody was so genuine in their support. And that was meaningful to me because everybody's not for you. And it makes me think about, I don't know if this is your reasoning, LaShona, but sometimes you have to move in silence. For me, that's important because, now I'm about to get off subject, but.
Listen, we thinking out loud. We thinking out loud.
But my husband, I'm sure y'all can attest to that, he is big on social media posting. I mean, he posts all the time. And that's just never been me, even in my personal life. The most you'll see me post about is like my sorority. Before January of this year, it's a stark difference. But when I realized, okay, you're pivoting, you're doing a whole different business model, like you gotta get your name out there. So I'm still not the biggest poster, but I'm posting a lot more. But he's always like, no, I feel like it's a blessing to share with people what you've accomplished. And he shared with me that there was a young man who saw something that he posted, an accomplishment, and the young man called him. It was somebody that he used to work with in an after-school program. The young man called him and said, Mr. C, I'm so glad I saw your post because I was thinking about taking my life, and that post walked me back. So I get the power in posting. But I also, just as a person, and this comes from trauma, and I'm working through in therapy, but I'm paranoid and I don't trust people a lot, and I have been burned also. So I try to move in silence, but find the balance as well, because when you're moving in silence, sometimes you miss out on support and opportunities that people want to share.
It's almost like out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
And it's such a powerful tool, because you never know who's watching.
Exactly.
And sometimes the likes may not add up online, but then you be out in public and somebody will share, thank you for that. Where the juice is at, right? Like it's a thing.
That makes me think, LaShona, when we talked last year, you said, I don't know if you saw my recent post. You were posting about some young people that had come to you and felt safe enough to share with you. I'm not one of them people that's anti-social media. There's benefits to it, but I recently interviewed Dr. Marsha Fleming Randall, and we talked about the power of discernment. That in this season of growth has been what I've been praying for the most.
That discernment. It's a wild balance. I guess that's what discernment is, right? Of course, like that balance in decision making and judgment. But it's ill, like as a professional, right, and a brand, because we all essentially are our own brands. That's the illest part of social media. I used to post my kids all the time. Now it's sparingly. I'll post my family. But I know if I post my family, it's about to get a whole bunch of hits. So right after that, I'm about to post the business. Right? I'm gonna make this algorithm work for me. But it's a tough one because you don't want to put so much out there, but then it's out of sight, out of mind. Then the more it looks like you winning.
That's what gets me.
Right.
I just figured that within the last 6 to 8 months. Like, people think that you doing so much that now I don't want to help her. Because that's just crazy to me because I want to see everybody win, and I'm going to keep helping so we can all make it to the top together. It shouldn't be like that, but you know what? That just means there's some issues that they need to work on.
That also speaks what you're just talking about market. Because oftentimes when you start your business, you feel like your people is your market. Them is not your market. Right? Them is your peoples, but they are not due to support you. You might have a cousin that do not like juice. You might have some family members that does not have a business that they run, so they can't support it in that way. Having that expanded market and knowing who your demographic is and stepping outside, like Wichita, I think we like 7% when we look at the black piece of it, right? And so to try to capture that full 7%, then you got to dig deeper into that to like so many different foundations and pieces of it. So it's a tricky balance.
It is.
For sure. I was talking to a friend not too long ago that's been running a business here for quite some time, is small time successful, but has gotten frustrated because we just don't know how to support each other like we're supposed to. She's actually considering packing up and moving away. And it's sad that we do that. And we hear that story in Wichita, let alone in Kansas, all the time. So outside of what these girls already know, why I've chose to reroute in my revamp business to kind of stay a little silent on what I have going on. So.
Yeah.
The other side of that, when I see high levels of support, if anybody mentions Christina Long, they're gonna go ride or die for her. I think to somebody like a Bray Films who constantly sells out the Warren Theater. And shout out to Candy, you was just in the movie. So what is that like for you? Does it ever feel weird on camera, on screen, people seeing this version of you, and then you got this other version of you professional-wise outside of the art?
More of the older generation, they don't know how to disconnect the acting. So I've had issues where they have called my mother's house. My mother was like, they said I would be mortified if I seen what you were doing. I'm like, dang, mama, but you gonna be the first handout when I make it. Right? For people in my age bracket, I think they understand and they don't judge me or hold me to certain standards. But at the end of the day, my business, to me, I've put so much time and effort and energy into it that's gonna be, I tell Bray, when you need me, call me. I say, when we blow up, I'm there. Whatever you need, I'm there. I've poured so much into being a juice therapist, just graduated, certified juice therapist. Yes. I started that when I started Spark. So I was Spark, that, trying to do my business, still working. The program is maybe a 2-3 month program. And it took me 2 years to finish. So when I made that post, I had to learn, pat yourself on the back. Don't wait for nobody else to do it. This year in March, I made the post, I don't know if y'all seen, I said I'm gonna take the leap of faith into being a full-time entrepreneur. And when I tell you, God was not playing with me. I went the first 2 months, I cried once a week because I kept trying to get in the way. And God was like, you need to move over because I have a calling on your life to save people and help them, inspire them and show them and motivate them. And there was times where I didn't eat. There was times where I couldn't do the things that I wanted to do. But when I have people hit me up, what flavors you got? Can you meet me? That right there, so motivating, still motivating. And I'm there every beck and call, what you need. So now that I'm a certified therapist, there's a fee tacked on, but I still got you. So it's for the love of people. And I've always been into food, and I didn't know God was gonna steer me in this direction. But as long as you keep him in the forefront, you're bound to win, honestly.
I love that, I love that. Camille, that balance, the balance of businesses, because I know not only do you have the Clarice Desk, you got other businesses as well. Where do you find the balance brand-wise as well as spirit-wise, time-wise?
And you work full-time as well, right?
Yes.
Oh, you're doing it all. Grind don't stop.
It's a commitment. Everything that I do is a commitment and it's intentional.
Okay.
And you have to be able to weed out what is not serving you. And sometimes the exhaustion is worth it because God is going to pour back into me exactly what I need to be able to carry out my commitment. So the Clarice Desk is one piece. I can take my computer everywhere. I can work on my business wherever. But you got the Stylist for Raise, my event planning company that I co-own with my sisters. You got STEP, like I'm the master trainer of the state to do STEP. And so people expect things out of me and they expect me to pour out into them in ways that sometimes I don't pour into myself. Just to be real, we can sit up here and talk about balance, but if I'm not balanced, everything around me shifts. And absolutely everything. It doesn't matter how much I put into different buckets, they all gonna end up in one bucket because I'm not okay. So it's really about centering myself and talking about the ecosystem. My church, my faith is a part of my ecosystem of who I am as a person, and everything that I do, if I do not get replenished by God and what feeds my soul of being around other Christians and being in my church, I am going to fall each and every single day. That's how I'm able to go to my 9 to 5. Shout out to KLC. That's how I'm able to do the Clarice Desk. That's how I'm always able to pick up and be like, what you need? That's how I'm able to do it. The balancing act never ever gets balanced. It's never going to be balanced. But you know what? God is going to give me what I need. So I don't care about trying to force myself to make anything balanced that he's put on me that I can carry. So
You preaching.
Yeah.
You preaching. Look, deep breath out. I like that energy. I like that energy. What was that moment that affirmed you that you was on the right path of what you're doing?
When I didn't have enough money to buy produce for Juneteenth to get prepared, and this is something I do every year, and I'm like, God, what am I gonna do? I'm driving from the store. I think I spent my last maybe $100, and I still needed so much more produce. I go to my mama's house to check up on her. When I get there, the lady that used to help me juice a year prior, I hadn't seen her in forever, but her kids stayed next door to my mama. I was like, dang, Shauna, how you been? And she was like, how's the juice? And I was like, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I need apples, I need oranges. And she was like, oh, I go help the food bank, and they have organic apples. I said, what? She's like, yeah, I'll bring some by you tomorrow. I kid you not, that next day, I went to go run an errand. I came back, it was apples and oranges on my front step. I said, come on, God, let's run it up for the people. So that just gave me a boost, like, Kandace, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. I may not have a full tank of gas all the time. I may not be able to go to adult skate night like I want, but the fact that I'm very well taken care of and I'm living in my purpose, you know? So I ain't worried about nothing. I was never.
Imagine if you ain't open your mouth.
Okay.
If you ain't say nothing in that moment.
And you know, I've had people be like, sometimes you need to tone down your personality, or you need to not talk so much. And I'll be like, God made me like this. And that I had to learn, because I did suppress myself for a while. And I had to understand that is not a me thing, that's a them thing. So when somebody else is trying to project their stuff onto you, it just comes with the level of maturity and just going through certain situations to where I'm gonna speak my truth, I'm gonna say what I wanna say, and if you don't like it, then you don't have to be around me, because I'm not changing for nobody. I'm very well taken care of. God is not gonna let me fail. And I have witnessed it multiple times.
Amen. Amen. You better preach, Candy B.
Oh, y'all preaching up in here.
Whenever I try to go do something and God will pull me back like, no, this is what you need to be doing. And whenever I do what I'm called to do, it's easy. I'm not stressing, I'm not worried about it. And I was like, man, I don't know why it took me so long to get here. And people that are older than me, sometimes they be like, man, some people never get there.
I think for me, it was the alignment of people. I was going through some personal stuff where I had been praying for God to cleanse me, reset me, and remove those that ain't for me. So I was actually talking to a good friend of mine from college, and I was frustrated because when you're in the zone of your business and life takes over, sometimes you got to just sit in whatever it is. Ironically, a cousin of hers had just moved back to Kansas City area, and he was having somewhat of the same ideas. And I'll never forget, she was like, LaShona, let me call you right back. And she had been knowing what I've been wanting to do for a while. So she was like, hey, my cousin wants to talk to you. It was a simple 3-way call. He was like, hey, whenever you're ready, I would love to support your business. I would love to make it Black-owned business. I will be a vendor for the first 6 months whenever you are ready. And that guy actually turned into not only a mentor, but he's actually one of my good friends, and his offer still stands. So I think the alignment of people, getting rid of what doesn't serve you and who doesn't, and simply getting the right people. He checks on me faithfully. Sometimes he puts certain people back into your life to balance even simple stuff like your mental peace and your mental health. For me, that's what it was.
Now, it's bars. I love when things come full circle. Dr. Kelly, when were you affirmed? I mean, we sitting inside of Left on Red. We ain't even mentioned that part. You feel me? We sitting inside of Left on Red. Talk to us.
Oh man, it's been so many moments. You asked something about a pivotal moment in Spark. I forget the exact question, but it kind of aligns with that.
The part in Spark that strengthened your strength.
For me, it overlaps because the answer to that is actually, it was after Spark. Spark itself was great, but like Camille, I was invited to be a facilitator for the fall 2023 cohort. I asked the person who had reached out to me, I said, what do they want me to cover? And she came back and said, you have a PhD, you should be able to teach anything. That's not exactly how that works, but I've always been really big on just trying to challenge myself in ways that make sense. And I felt like this makes sense. Like, you are a whole professor and you do own a business. And I knew that Alejo, Tijuana, everybody would be there to have my back. So going through that, Tijuana really held me down in the regular course portion, especially areas where I still was struggling and trying to figure out. But where I really felt I shined was with the one-on-ones, because and it makes total sense, because my favorite thing to do is to teach. And when I'm working directly with my students, one just had an issue. I'm that professor that if nobody else is going to advocate for you, that's going to be me, because I'm a first-gen grad and I really had to fight for everything. Those are the situations that I love. And so in those one-on-ones, I noticed that, yes, a lot of the entrepreneurs would have something business related that they were struggling with, but a lot of times it would be more internal stuff, self-doubt, time management, but nothing wrong with their business per se, just needing to figure out some other ways to move that would be in alignment. Y'all may know Kennedy. She was in that space, and by the time we finished our session, she was excited. She was like, I'm finna go back and redo my homework, and I was like, I ain't never had no students say And so when I saw her the next week, she had redone it. For me, that was one of those moments where I'm like, wow. And it was in a time where I was like, I don't want to do what I went through Spark for. I don't enjoy that. I'm good at it, but I'm dreading every project. I was thinking about shifting to speaking engagements or workshops, consulting, doing one-on-one support. And I was telling Shantae, I was like, people don't know me for that. How am I going to do that? And she was like, you already been doing that with me. She was like, you're doing that with the entrepreneurs in Spark. And so that moment was pivotal for me because it showed me that other people were seeing it in me already, but it showed me that I could do it. And that was like the final decision maker for me to shift to do that. And boom, 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 I started getting contracts. So it's like one of those things, once you start walking in your purpose, everything starts to fall into place. And then I'll share this is exclusive, y'all. Like by the time this airs, everybody will know, but it's exclusive. But the other thing that let me know I'm walking in my purpose and this is what I'm supposed to be doing, I shifted to full-time entrepreneurship October of last year, and it was earlier than expected, but my full-time job was so toxic, like my mental was just bad. It was really, really bad. And I had been telling Corinthian, I think I'm gonna have to leave my job. And he was always with it, but so much of my identity was tied to working. I've been, since I was in my early teens, working to support the family. So the idea of not having a stable, steady check coming in was so, I couldn't imagine it, but I had to prioritize my mental health. And so I left. I was like, the funds ain't, the money looking funny.
That's real. That's real.
But around that time, I applied for the Info Challenge grant, got that, and was able to stand up Black in One Piece. Fast forward, that grant was for $30,000 for 2 years, y'all. Wow. A lot of that went into Black in One Piece, TMBP Media, and then now us transitioning the podcast production into here, Left on Red. They contacted us about a month or so ago and asked us to come and talk about our progress. Our fiscal sponsor said, think of it like a pitch. That goes back to Spark, because even though I wasn't talking about the same stuff, those same fundamental pieces that I needed to have in there came back to me. I was able to pull even some stuff from my executive summary in terms of the foundation of the Millennial Black Professor. So they were coaching us and preparing us, and they told us, this is long, I'm sorry y'all, but it's some lessons up in here.
Come on, you dropping them.
So the fiscal sponsor, they have like a membership support person, and she's new, and she has really been helping us because, you know, it's different when somebody's been in the trenches. She's done this work before. So she's giving us the for real. She told me and the other two winners, you need to ask for, first she said like 50K, then she said 75K, then she said 100K. So when I had my one-on-one with her, I said, okay, I need you to be for real with me. I said, what's the number that they're not gonna be like, you tripping, you know? Because I was gonna ask for 100K for a year, and she was like, ask for it. She told me the story of how her and her previous partners, she wanted to go big, and they were like, no, that's too much. And the first thing the people said when they finished their pitch was, you should have asked for more. So she was like, that was just always a lesson for me. So when we went to present, there was another group that went ahead of me, and they had asked for like 250, I think, to 350 across 5 years, right? So when you divide that out, that's not, you know, and then, so I was like, wait a second. I said, maybe I'm doing too much. And this is an example of like, you just got to stay focused on what you're doing. Because I said, well, that's what's on the slide. And they already got the slides. I said 100K for the year. And they did not bat an eye. Fast forward, they said, we want you to come back and pitch again to the larger group. So it's really getting real now. And we nervous and preparing. And the day before we went to do that pitch, we got an email. And the email said that each newsroom is being funded for 2025 at 100K for the year.
Look at God.
Look at how the Lord be showing. So for me, like that moment for me, because y'all, I have been working so hard, and there was a stretch like August, September, October that I was just going. And I was telling my best friend, I was like, this is not sustainable. And I was like, something has got to give. And my prayer specifically was, Lord, please let me win in grants at least what my salary was before, because I know I can work with that. I had gotten a couple of little mini ones here and there, but this is the one that took me, over. So getting that email was a moment, and then I'll round it out with this. Yesterday, I was talking to my best friend, and she sent me a voice note actually, and she said, I just want to tell you I'm so proud of you. She always says kudos. She was like, kudos. And she said, I remember us having conversations over the past decade of you saying, this work that I'm doing, I'm not supposed to be doing it. I'm not happy, but it's a good government job, so I'm just staying in it. So she was like, so to see you actually doing what lights you up and makes you flourish and thrive, she was like, I'm just really happy for you. And that, sometimes we don't take that pause to realize, like, dang, like the thing that I was hoping for, over a decade, y'all. It took a long time. It was not just overnight, but people a lot of times just see what you're posting and assume that it's just been an overnight success. Yeah. So anyway, all those moments would be for me like those pivotal, this is it.
Ooh, go crazy. Camille.
What affirmed me is what continues to affirm me, and that is I'm not forgotten in any capacity. I did a spiritual gifts training at my church, and what my top gift, no shocker, is administration. And I was like, oh, I'm only supposed to do this within the four walls of my church. And it wasn't until I realized I need to use my gifts that God gave me outside to, of course, bring him glory, right? So anytime I work with a client, I'm praying over that client, no matter what they believe in. And I'm praying for myself to know if this is the client that I should be working with. After Spark, the opportunities just kept coming. And I would be like, why me? I know what I won. I know that I did well, but who am I? But it's always the emails from Christina. It's always the emails from Alejo that I'm like, I don't know why y'all said, let's ask Camille, but I'm gonna say yes. And every single time I'm out of my comfort zone and I'm meeting somebody new and I'm getting another opportunity to showcase what the Clarice desk is and what I'm not doing within the Clarice desk, I'm like, what service can I offer based off of this? So it's always challenging me. And then we lost my pastor last year and we got a new pastor. And I was so scared to ask my church to invest in me in my business when I was working for them. Because I worked for my church for almost 10 years. And I was like, this is ministry. I ain't even supposed to be getting paid for this, but I'm working and doing this full time. Like, I'm doing it for the Lord. And my new pastor was like, how much do we need to pay you to be a retainer to handle some of the aspects of the church? And I'm like, excuse me, a what? I gave him a number. He was like, nice try. I'll come back and give you another number. And it was like, are you kidding me? Being affirmed that what you're doing outside of ministry work is ministry work, that to me means so much more than anything that I've ever done with the Clarice desk. And being able to have somebody who invests in you in the four walls that I commit myself to on a daily basis, and his separate business itself. My pastor has his own business and he invests, he's one of my top clients. So I'm like, I don't even take as many clients that I used to in my business because my church invests in me so much, and that has never happened. I've always been scared to talk about my business. When I won the stuff in Spark, they put it on the PowerPoint during the screen announcements, and I ran to the bathroom because I was scared somebody was gonna say something about me being highlighted with my business. But having a church who truly sees the value in me and not being forgotten for things like this, saying yes to this, I'm like, why y'all keep asking me? Like, I am nobody, I don't do nothing, but I'll help you be behind the camera. Like, what you want me to do, hold up a poster? So that's what affirms me.
So I'm hearing people in your lives, purpose,
For sure.
and you always where you're supposed to be. I gotta ask one more question, right? And I'm hearing a thread. When is the last time you celebrated yourself?
I'd probably say sometime in the summer somewhere. It hasn't been here lately besides the movie premiere. I just feel like I can't get too caught up in the celebration part of it because personally I'm easily distracted. I love to party. I love to celebrate. So I have to make it to where it's meaningful and don't stay in that celebration because you still got stuff to do. Yeah. So even after that movie premiere, it took me a couple of days and I said, Monday, get it back together. And I actually forgot I was supposed to be here. So I checked my calendar, man, and I was like, oh, you got stuff to do tomorrow. Yeah.
I don't know if I really have a timeline, but where I'm at in my life, I do it often. I'm living in a season of unapologetically LaShona. I wake up and I'm in a season where I don't have to. And there's no shade to nobody else, but I focus on LaShona first and then everybody else. So I do it often.
Dr. Kelly, when's the last time you told yourself, good job, girl, I see you?
When I got that 100K.
Come on, word, real life.
But that's a good question, because seriously, outside of that, it's something that I just been go, and I know I need to. When I was in that space, that August, September, October, I was like, I don't want to be, like I hear people talk about, oh, it's grind time, is it? No, I don't want to be wearing that as a badge of honor or anything, you know, so I'm looking at Left on Red as the opportunity to do more of that, because it's required a shift in my mindset. I'm gonna have to let go of some of the classes I've taught for a long time. It's like an end of an era. I feel like, man, but I'm realizing that Left on Red is my classroom now. And that's how I'm having to look at it. So it could free me up to have the time to celebrate, spend more time with my travel. You know, I want to go back home and see my family a lot more, but I don't have the time to. So, and I do want to quickly say, the importance of stepping out on faith. It's also, I think, a theme that has been running through. Coming here from Virginia was a leap of faith, okay?
Word.
But it also was one of the best decisions I've made in my life. I think I would have continued to grow, but I likely would still be at my good government job. And there's nothing wrong with that. But that's not what the Lord had for me. And it took me coming to Wichita, Kansas, to walk in what he had for me.
On Tuesdays and Fridays, I go and get trained by Chelsea at Go Dollar Fitness. Shout out to Chelsea.
Nice.
And I have felt like falling off of working out. Shout out to Brianna Williams. That's who got me into doing step. And Bree left last year. And so I'm teaching, but I don't get to engage in step as much as I used to. So I had completely fallen off of working out and committed to myself. When I won the award for Best Fitness Trainer, I was so happy for myself, and I felt like I was playing myself. I said, how can I be best fitness instructor knowing that I'm not pouring into myself what I pour into other people? Come on. I invested in her to train me, and it has been so hard. This past Friday, after my training session, I just started bawling. And she was like, are you okay? Did it hurt? I was like, I'm just so proud of myself. Not just because of me getting through my workout, but I started to think about the stuff with the Clarice desk. And I started thinking about the calls that my mom, I saw you on Facebook doing this, and my mom doesn't live here, my parents don't live here. And so hearing her say how proud she is of me, she don't even know the extent of what I do on a day-to-day. That is what I find celebration in. Financially, I buy things now and I don't feel guilty about it later.
Nice.
And those things, I don't care if it's splurging on stuff at the grocery store, if it's, I see something on Fashion Nova that I wanted, if it's taking myself to the movies, things that I used to sit back and be like, I wish I could do it and I can't, just to make me happy for the day, or buy it and then have guilt about it. I'm so proud of who Camille is now, even though there are so many things that I want to accomplish. I think on Friday, I just finally broke down because I did not want to go work out. I was like, I'm about to tell her my tire is flat. I'm about to tell her I'm tired. I was wrecked, and that's what I'm used to. I will count myself out before I give myself a chance just because I'm tired. And so that to me was a win. I find the celebration in all the little things to make sure that I'm grateful and thankful for absolutely everything I'm getting.
Yes.
So,
I don't know, but I think you have to celebrate the small wins because for one, they add up, and it's so easy to get caught up in that grind mentality, right? And above all, you got to take care of yourself. Ain't nobody gonna make the commitment to keep your cup full if you don't.
Right.
It's an old Chris Rock joke I seen. He's talking about his car broke down. He sat in the car, nobody helped him. His car broke down, he got out the car and was pushing it, and people pulled up to help push it. If you ain't taking care of yourself, you can't expect nobody else to want to take care of you. So
that's good.
Celebrate your small wins. Don't get lost in them, because yesterday's home runs don't win today's games, but celebrate them for a little bit.
I like to always ask before we end for each person to go around and share anything that you have going on right now that you want the people to know about, how we can find you, and all that good stuff.
I'm a multi-gifted person. So I want to bring two things together. I enjoy being in front of the camera, and I at one point did have a YouTube channel. It's been resting for a few years. I want to be able to get that, combine it with my interviews that I enjoy doing, juicing, healthy eating habits, and showing people that Wichita got talent on top of that. Once I get that going, that'll keep me motivated. I enjoy juicing. I love cooking. I miss it. So that's what I'm working on right now. And you can find me on Instagram, Candy B Juicing, KNDY B Juicing _101. Facebook is Kandace, Kandace, Burnett, Burnett, and I stay popping in this thing. You know what I'm talking about?
I love it.
I got a couple projects in the work for 2025, LA Finest. I'm still working on my Spark project. Hopefully we can get that up and running. Those of y'all that don't know, I'm a children's book author. If you haven't bought Family Ties, check us out on Amazon. We're going to have a couple copies here in Left on Red. And by the time this airs, Bridging the Gap Part 2 to Family Ties should be in a bookstore, Amazon near you. So I got a couple things. I'm busy. Anybody that knows me in the community knows I coach, I train, I serve the community, I serve the youth. But I'm working on a couple individual things underneath LA Finest LLC as well. You can find me at LA Finest 316 on Instagram.
Nice. If you need business services, if you need automation, there's no reason why people should email you or text you and you ain't responded back. So that's the easiest gateway. I tell people on what I do. I help people automate their businesses so that when people contact them, people reach you, they know that they're going to get a trusted process so that you can get money into your pocket. So if you need automation services, virtual assistant services, you can find me at www.theclaricedesk.com. And then try a step class. People who hate cardio, people who hate working out, I promise you, if you give step a try, you might find something that you like that is going to help you get active. And we don't like to walk all the time, but we like to dance. So step is a little bit like that. So you can catch me at Go Dollar Fitness at 2627 East Central on Mondays for beginners classes. I'm going to leave it there because the stuff people see is the fancy feet work and they get discouraged. So beginners is on Mondays at 7 o'clock. You can find me on Vagaro.com/extreme hip hop with meals.
Listening to Camille do all that, take me back to Spark and that elevators. It was just so smooth. Yeah.
It's the theater kid in me, and I think that's what made it easy for me to get up, is because I did theater in high school. But that wasn't Camille, so I think that's what it is. Getting up as Camille is much more difficult than getting up as somebody else.
To round it all out, we did have those conversations last year, robust conversations about just what the Black experience is and what it means to be Black in one piece to you. I want to close us out with y'all just sharing where you are right now. What does Black in one piece mean to you?
It is a commitment. It is making a choice every day I wake up that I am going to be Black and unapologetically Black, in spite of every single thing that goes on that tells me that I shouldn't be proud of it. It is the commitment to my ecosystem. It is a commitment to my traditions. It is everything that my mother and her mother and their mother, everybody who instilled something in one another, is what being Black in one piece means to me. And the ecosystem is my church. It is the hairstylist who pours into me every 4 weeks. It is the nail tech. It is the therapist. My ecosystem plays a part in my Blackness, and that is what it means to be Black in one piece to me.
I think my answer actually hasn't changed. Black in one piece to me is it's a blessing if any of us that's Black or brown make it home every day to our front porch. As soon as you step outside, there's so many strikes against us, even in our children. So just to make it home in one piece, just staying in tune with self, staying in tune with your mental health, staying in tune with your culture, staying in tune with yourself. Once you step out that porch, being Black and brown, if you make it home every day, it's a blessing. But so much stacked against us, and just to make it home in one piece.
Black in one piece to me is just really being in tune with the melanin and what that actually entails and holds just by you consuming live food to bring it up to the surface and really be more enlightened. That what you want is already in you. You just have to use certain tools to get there and feel comfortable on that plane, because society will make you feel like sometimes being Black, you can't do certain stuff, when really it's the opposite. I can really do it. I can really go full throttle on you if I want to. And just really understand that you have the power to really become whatever it is, and you were born like that. Melanated skin is the power. Black in one piece is the power. Once you understand that, then it's easier.
Black in one piece to me means privilege. Often we shrink ourselves as Black people, but we American history. We have such a privilege. I walk out of the house and I don't shrink. I'm 6'3", I can't shrink. But I'm gonna be me no matter where I'm at. You're gonna feel me for who I am no matter where I'm at, in every piece of the Black man that I am. If I'm in a boardroom, if I'm in an office space, if I'm coaching my son in basketball, if I'm in my kids' student-teacher conferences, if I'm on this panel with you amazing women, hey, I'm that guy. And I'd like to encourage all black folks to feel like that. What you gonna tell me? It's easy to remember where we've been, but I'm trying to take us where we're going. So that's my word.
Woo. This has been so good, y'all. I want to do it again next week. But no, we really appreciate y'all thinking out loud with us. And until next time, stay black in one piece.
And we out.
This episode is powered by Create Campaign. For information about Spark Community Business Academy, a 12-week entrepreneurship program, visit createcampaignkansas.com. createcampaignks.com.
For more great episodes, subscribe to TMBP Media's channel on YouTube. Thank you for watching.